They shut you out. Again, you've tried asking what's wrong. You've tried giving space. You've stayed calm. You've stayed patient, and none of it worked. Here's why. You've been trying to reach someone who, in that moment, isn't reachable. Not because they feel nothing, but because what they're feeling is so overwhelming that shutting you out isn't a choice. It's a reflex. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what's happening inside them when they go quiet, and the one shift that actually changes the dynamic. At first, it doesn't look like much. A slightly shorter reply, a little less eye contact, a warmth that was there yesterday and isn't today. You notice. You always notice. So you ask if everything's okay. They say yes. But something has shifted, and you feel it in your chest before your brain has named it. So you try harder. You reach further. And the further you reach, the further they go, until you're standing in front of someone who looks like the person you love and feels completely unreachable. And you're left with that question that never fully leaves. What did I do? And why won't they just tell me? The answer isn't what you think. And once you see it clearly, it will change how much of yourself you give away trying to get back in. Here's what the research actually says. Studies on avoidant attachment found that avoidantly attached people don't feel less than their partners. They often feel more. Their stress responses during moments of closeness are measurably higher. They aren't cold. They aren't indifferent. They are flooded. The shutdown you're watching, it isn't them pushing you away. It's them trying not to drown. I see this misread constantly with my clients. Deeply empathic people. People who are extraordinarily good at reading emotional states. Sitting across from me convinced their avoidant partner doesn't care, that the silence means nothing. And I have to show them what's actually happening on the other side of that wall. Because what they've been reading as rejection is actually one of the most intense emotional experiences their partner is capable of having. They're not gone. They're overwhelmed. And they were never taught that overwhelm was survivable without distance. So let's look at what's actually happening inside them. The sequence most people never see. Because once you see it, the shutdown stops being a mystery and starts being a map. It starts with closeness, real closeness, the kind that feels good on the surface, but activates something ancient and conditioned underneath. For the avoidant, emotional intimacy doesn't just feel warm, it feels dangerous. Not because of you, but because of every early experience that taught their nervous system. Needing someone leads to disappointment, to engulfment, to losing yourself. So when closeness reaches a certain depth, an alarm sounds. It isn't conscious. It isn't chosen. Their system reads connection and automatically translates it as threat. Then comes the internal surge, anxiety, irritability, an almost physical need to create distance. They don't have words for it in that moment. They often don't even know it's happening. What they know is, I need space, right now, and I can't explain why. So they go quiet. They pull back. They give you less. And while you're on the outside feeling abandoned, they're on the inside feeling, for the first time in hours, like they can breathe. Does that land? Have you felt that sudden chill, even when things seem fine? Drop it in the comments, because you are not imagining it. Now you might be thinking, if my steadiness is what's bringing them close enough to get scared, am I supposed to be less safe? No, but you're going to learn to be safe in a way that doesn't include chasing them. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, you need to understand why you specifically are the one who gets pulled deepest into this. You are not someone who misses emotional cues. You are someone who catches them before they fully formed. You felt the shift before they even acted on it. And because you felt it, you moved toward it, to fix it, to understand it, to reassure them back into connection. That impulse isn't wrong. In almost every other relationship, it would work. But for the avoidant nervous system, your movement toward them during a shutdown doesn't feel like love. It feels like confirmation. Confirmation that closeness comes with pressure. That connection requires performance. That they cannot fall apart without someone watching. So they retreat further, not to punish you, but because their system is doing the only thing it ever learned to do with feelings that got too big. Here's a reality check. The very things that make you exceptional at love, your attunement, your patience, your ability to stay, are the exact things keeping the cycle alive. Sit with that for a second. Here's the part almost no one talks about. Most partners of avoidance eventually trigger the shutdown less, not because they connected better, but because they've gotten reactive. They've started fights, issued ultimatums, made the relationship feel unstable enough that the avoidance wall goes up long before intimacy ever gets close enough to threaten them. In a strange way, the chaos keeps them comfortable, but you never created that chaos. You stayed regulated when you wanted to collapse. You stayed curious when you wanted to shut down yourself. You made it genuinely, consistently safe. And that safety is exactly what brought them close enough to get scared. Your emotional steadiness didn't protect you from the shutdown. It made you the person they got close enough to shut out. But here's what changes everything. Once you're ready to let it. The shutdown is not a verdict on you. It's a window into them. And the person who feels most devastated by it is also the only person with the depth to see through the wall to what's on the other side. Not to fix it, not to talk them out of it, but to understand it so completely that you stop collapsing into it. Because when you stop making their shutdown mean something about your worth, something shifts. You stop chasing the withdrawal. You stop flooding them with reassurance they can't receive in that moment. You become still, and stillness, for an avoidant, is the most disorienting thing you can offer, because it removes the one thing their cycle depends on. You're a predictable pursuit. This isn't a tactic. This isn't a game. It's a genuine, internal settling into your own ground, where you stop needing them to come back in order to be okay. When you reach that place, one of two things happens. Either they feel the loss of your pursuit, real loss, not the managed distance they chose, and something cracks open. The wall they spent years building finally starts to feel heavier than the risk of letting you in. They come toward you, not because you pulled them, but because for the first time, they had to choose it. Or they don't. They stay behind the wall. And the relationship can't survive the honesty of that. That outcome is painful, but it is also the clearest information you will ever receive. Because a connection that only exists when you are endlessly absorbing someone's fear was never the love you were looking for. Which of these two outcomes are you most afraid of right now? The answer will tell you a lot about where you are in this. Let me know below. Here's your one thing to try today. The next time you feel that shift, a shorter text, a little less warmth, that chill you always recognize before anyone said a word. Take a breath, stay in your own chair, and do nothing just for 10 minutes. Don't reach, don't fix, don't check in. Just notice what it feels like to not chase,